Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to one and all. This is Lawrence Chi, host, present perspective on Singapore podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to bring to you the idea of retiring in Italy. Yes, Italy. Let's just start off with buying processes of houses in Italy. To begin with, most aspects can buy real estate in Italy with no restrictions. In the UK, the States, Canadian EU nationals can buy property in Italy whether or not they live in the country. Same goes for citizens of other countries, which is the majority of countries that has a similar reciprocal agreement with Italy. This means that if Italians can buy property in your home country, then you can buy a property in Italy. Now let's dive deep into the tax and whatever you call it. Before proceeding with the purchase, you need to make a tax code or codice fiscale. That is, it's like a social security number used for signing contracts, getting paid, and opening accounts in Italy. This is an alphanumeric code that identifies citizens, non-citizens, residents, and non-residents in all dealings with Italian public authorities. While the tax code is assigned by birth to Italian citizens, it is assigned upon request to non-Italian citizens and residents. Foreign residents can apply for an Italian tax code at any Italian consulate or any Italian revenue agency office. Now, about our dollars and cents, money with which we have worked our butts out for years. I have listened and taken into consideration the advice from many people keep telling us that we have to open an account in Italy or in Germany. But that is not necessary. You could easily open it once the final deed is done. Exclusive property places in Italy have advised you do otherwise. With the current scenario, it would be little more difficult, the war and whatnot, for non-residents. To make the deal become binding for both parties, the next step is drawing a preliminary agreement or a compromesso with which the seller and the buyer engage themselves to sell and buy the property. In the contract, there are details about the parties, the sale price, the amount of the deposit, the completion date, and details referring to the property. The maps, title deeds, the registered mortgages, and any other required legal information will be handled by the experts. When preliminary agreement is signed, it is necessary, according to the law in Italy, record it to the Income Revenue Authority that's charged to yours truly buyer. Next comes the deposit. The next step is the payment of a deposit that consists in a percentage, although not fixed, of the whole price of the property. According to Article 1385 of the Italian Civil Code, if the vendor, which is seller, should he decide not to sell the property to you after having signed the preliminary sale contract and collected the deposit, he must pay the purchasing party, which is me, the buyer, back twice the amounts received. Holy man, CC, that's a good deal, man. In Italy, therefore, it is highly unlikely that a vendor, which is the seller, will contemplate paying back double the sum by changing the mind, or rather changing his mind after the preliminary contract has been signed. At the same time, if the buyer withdraws from the contract, he will lose the deposit. Another point which is very important for anyone starting to buy a property is to get the notary. The notary is a public officer appointed by the Italian Ministry of Justice. He or she acts as a third party who is independent of both the seller and the buyer. He or she ensures that the conveyance of the property complies with all legal requirements in the common interest of both the buyer and the seller. The notary public has the responsibility of performing due diligence, and he acts for both parties. The notary public is not the same as the British solicitor. Here in Italy, we must only guarantee that the deed is legal, that the house is in order, and that the payment is made in a legal manner. To find a deed is a legal document drawn up by the notary. Formal handover of the property will take place by signing the deed and paying the remaining amount in front of the notary. Another point of importance: having a power of attorney. The power of attorney can be used for many purposes, one of which is to buy or sell tenant property. Power of attorney, POA, is a document which allows an individual, which is the principal, which is me, the buyer, to grant another person, a trusted person, which is the lawyer, the power to act on his or her behalf and represent him or her legally. It is used in the case you are in the process of purchasing a property in Italy, but do not have the time, or in any case, a pandemic, the chance to travel to Italy to make the formalities. It's often used even if you can be present to take final deed. This applies when the principal, which is me, does not speak Italian, and my signature is required in front of an Italian notary public. More specifically, when a non-Italian speaking party is involved in person in a notarial deed, such as a property transaction, the law requires such deed to be drawn up in two languages, in this case Italian and in English, so that the language understood by the non-Italian speaking party. The law requires that an interpreter is present for the entire duration of the meeting. The power of attorney is in Italian and in the language of the principal. Power of attorney can be signed abroad in your country. It's enough to sign it in front of any foreign notary, public notary, or solicitor there who speaks Italian too, who will authenticate the signature. After this, an apostille is necessary to complete the power of attorney made abroad. The apostille is an official certification authenticated by the competent authorities designated by the state. Each state has a different authority which issue apostille, the consulate or the embassy, government officer or tribunal. Closing usually takes 6 to 8 weeks, but for bureaucratic reasons, sometimes it take even longer. After the sale is done, completed means when you own the property, you need to transfer under your name the utilities, so water, electricity. In this case, without any assistance, you can't make some renovations whatsoever. Please do seek proper authorities. Now we've come to the end of the episode. Please feel free drop me a line by email should you need any advice into making a decision to relocate to a country of your choice. But mine did save the day. And to the next episode, this is your host, Lawrence. Ciao.